I picked 5 birds. The selection was deliberate. I wanted to test something specific about avian evolution that I have been thinking about for months. The hypothesis was simple. Birds occupy more ecological niches than almost any other vertebrate class. There are roughly 11,000 living bird species. They live on every continent. They eat almost every available food source. They range from 2 grams to over 100 kilograms in body mass. They survived the asteroid that killed the non-avian dinosaurs 66 million years ago. The conventional wisdom is that birds are evolutionary winners, adaptable, resilient, built to handle environmental change. I wanted to test that conventional wisdom by running a competitive simulation. 5 different birds, each from a different ecological niche, each subjected to the same environmental challenges over a 50 million year evolutionary timescale. Whichever lineage produced the most successful descendants would be the winner. Whichever lineages went extinct or radically declined would tell us something about the limits of avian adaptability. I expected at least 3 of them to survive. I expected the simulation to demonstrate that birds in general are robust to environmental pressure. The results were not what I expected. 4 of the 5 lineages collapsed. The survivor was not the bird I would have predicted. And the reason for the survival pattern revealed something about evolution that I did not fully understand before I started. Here are the 5 birds I selected. First, the kakapo. The kakapo is a flightless parrot from New Zealand. It is the only flightless parrot in the world. It is also the heaviest parrot in the world, with adult males weighing up to 4 kilograms. It is critically endangered with a current wild population of fewer than 250 individuals. I selected it because I wanted to test what happens to a flightless bird that lost its flight capability due to the absence of mammalian predators in its native ecosystem. The kakapo evolved on an island with no native mammals and developed a body plan that prioritized energy efficiency over predator avoidance. When mammals arrived through human introduction, the kakapo could not adapt fast enough. The simulation removes the human factor and asks whether the kakapo lineage could have persisted on its own evolutionary trajectory. Second, the secretary bird. This is a large terrestrial raptor from Africa that hunts snakes by stomping on them with armored feet. It stands over a meter tall, has long crane-like legs, and combines features of eagles with features of running birds. It is unique in the avian world. There is no other living bird that hunts the way the secretary bird hunts. I selected it because I wanted to test whether a highly specialized predator could adapt if its specific prey base changed. Third, the Hoatzin. The Hoatzin is a chicken-sized bird from the Amazon basin that has the most alien biology of any modern bird. Its chicks are born with claws on their wings that they use to climb trees, the only bird where this is documented in modern times. It has a digestive system that ferments plant matter like a cow. The only bird with this capability, it smells terrible due to the fermentation process and is sometimes called the stink bird. I selected it because I wanted to see whether a bird with extremely unusual specializations could continue evolving in unexpected directions. Fourth, the common pigeon. The pigeon is the most successful synanthropic bird in the world. It has spread to every continent except Antarctica through human transportation and has adapted to urban environments more successfully than nearly any other species. I selected the pigeon because I wanted to test the survival of a generalist that has thrived through opportunism rather than specialization. Fifth, the cassowary. The cassowary is the second largest living bird, found in the rainforests of New Guinea and northern Australia. It is flightless, weighs up to 80 kilograms, has dagger-like claws, and is widely considered the most dangerous bird alive. It can kill humans. I selected the cassowary because I wanted to test whether a large flightless bird with significant defensive capabilities could persist long-term. These 5 lineages represent 5 different evolutionary strategies. Flightless island specialist, specialized terrestrial predator, bizarrely specialized herbivore, adaptable urban generalist, large defensive flightless bird. The plan was to subject all 5 to the same environmental challenges and see which strategy produced descendants that lasted 50 million years. The challenges I introduced were realistic for that timescale. Climate fluctuation cycles approximating those that have occurred in Earth's recent geological history, continental drift effects on habitat availability, the introduction of new competitor species in regions where speciation rates were high, diseases similar to known avian pathogens, but with mutation rates, allowing them to evolve faster than immune systems could respond. Predator pressure from descendants of currently existing carnivorous mammals. These are not extreme challenges. These are the normal background pressures that all bird lineages face over geological time. The Kakapo failed first. Within 200,000 years of simulation time, the Kakapo lineage was reduced to a handful of remnant populations on small isolated land masses. The flightless body plan that evolved in the absence of mammalian predators became a fatal liability when mammals diversified into new island ecosystems. Kakapos cannot escape predators by flying. They cannot climb fast enough to evade most carnivorous mammals. Their main defense, freezing and relying on camouflage, fails against scent-tracking predators. The lineage produced no descendants that successfully reversed the loss of flight. The genetic and developmental pathways for flight, having been deactivated for millions of years, did not reactivate within the simulation timescale even when selection pressure favored flyers. By 5 million years into the simulation, the Kakapo lineage was extinct. The Hoatzin failed second. The reasons were different from the Kakapo. Hoatzins are extremely specialized for their specific Amazonian floodplain habitat. Their digestive system requires constant access to certain plant species. Their reproductive biology depends on specific seasonal flood cycles. Their chick with claws adaptation requires specific tree structures for the chicks to navigate. When the simulation introduced climate fluctuations that altered the Amazon basin's hydrological patterns, the Hoatzin lineage could not adapt fast enough. Their specializations were too narrow. Within 8 million years, the Hoatzin lineage had been reduced to a single small population in a remnant habitat and was clearly heading toward extinction. By 15 million years, they were gone. The secretary bird failed third. This surprised me. I had assumed the secretary bird's predatory specialization would allow it to follow its prey base through evolutionary time. What actually happened was that the snake populations, the secretary birds diverged into multiple new species during the simulation, and the secretary birds could not specialize on all of them simultaneously. Some snake descendants became fully arboreal and were inaccessible to the ground-hunting secretary birds. Some became aquatic. Some became fossorial. The secretary bird lineage attempted to follow these radiations, but was outcompeted in each new niche by other predators that were better suited to those environments. Generalist raptors began outcompeting secretary birds in open terrain. By 20 million years, the secretary bird lineage was extinct, or so reduced as to be functionally extinct. The cassowary failed fourth. The cassowary's downfall was its size. Large flightless birds are vulnerable to extinction events that affect food supply, because their populations cannot be sustained on smaller territories. When the simulation introduced a series of major climate changes that fragmented rainforest habitats, cassowary populations were broken into isolated groups that could not maintain genetic diversity. Inbreeding depression accumulated. Some populations developed compensating adaptations. Most did not. The cassowary lineage produced one promising offshoot that adapted to drier woodland environments and persisted for 30 million years before climate change again pushed it past its tolerance range. By 35 million years, the lineage was extinct. The pigeon survived. Not just survived, thrived. I want to explain why the pigeon won, because this is the most interesting part of the simulation, and it reveals something about evolution that the other lineages could not. The pigeon's evolutionary advantage was generalism. Pigeons are not the best at anything. They are not the largest birds. They are not the smartest. They are not the most specialized predators or the most efficient herbivores. What they are is moderately good at many things. They eat a wide variety of foods. They tolerate a wide range of climates. They reproduce quickly. They form social groups. They have flight capabilities that allow them to disperse to new habitats. They are unspecialized in a way that allows them to specialize in specific directions. When selection pressure favors it, while retaining the underlying generalist genome that allows them to despecialize again if conditions change. In the simulation, the pigeon lineage diversified into dozens of descendant species across the 50 million year timescale. Some became larger, some became smaller, some specialized in fruit, some specialized in seeds. Some became aquatic, evolving into something resembling ducks. Some became aerial insectivores, evolving toward swift-like body plans. Some became ground-dwelling birds resembling grouse or partridges. Some retained the basic pigeon body plan and continued thriving in human-disturbed environments, which in the post-human world became environments disturbed by other large herbivores. The key feature of the pigeon lineage was that it could go in multiple directions simultaneously. While the Kakapo lineage was constrained by flightlessness, the secretary bird lineage was constrained by predatory specialization. The Hoatzin lineage was constrained by digestive specialization, and the Cassowary lineage was constrained by size and habitat specificity. The pigeon lineage had no significant constraints. It could fly, it could walk, it could climb, it could swim with relatively minor adaptations. It could shift diet, it could shift habitat, it could shift body size up or down within a few million years. By 50 million years into the simulation, the pigeon lineage had radiated into 47 distinct descendant species, occupying ecological roles across all major terrestrial and freshwater habitats. The total biomass of pigeon descendants exceeded the combined biomass of all other surviving bird lineages in the simulated ecosystems. They had become the dominant bird group on Earth. This is the lesson the simulation taught me. Specialization is a trade-off. It produces high performance in stable conditions, but high vulnerability when conditions change. Generalism is also a trade-off. It produces lower performance in any given condition, but allows survival across changing conditions over short evolutionary timescales of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years. Specialists often outcompete generalists in their specific niches. Over long evolutionary timescales of millions of years, the conditions that favored specialists eventually change and the specialists go extinct, while the generalists persist and produce new specialist descendants for the new conditions. This is why pigeons are so successful in the real world today. Not because they are impressive. They are not impressive. They are dirty, ordinary, ignored urban birds that most people consider pests. Their lack of impressiveness is the source of their evolutionary advantage. They have no commitments to particular ecological niches. They can become whatever the environment rewards. The simulation revealed that this property is not a temporary feature of pigeons. It is a fundamental feature of generalist lineages, and over geological timescales, it is the most important feature an animal can have. The Kakapo was beautiful and unique. It went extinct in the simulation because its uniqueness was a constraint. The secretary bird was specialized and impressive. It went extinct because its specialization could not follow its prey. The Hoatzin was alien and bizarre. It went extinct because its alienness was too narrow. The Cassowary was dangerous and large. It went extinct because its size required resources that environmental change made unavailable. The pigeon was none of those things. It was just a pigeon. And being just a pigeon, it turns out, is the strongest evolutionary position any animal can occupy when the timescale is long enough. There is a lesson here that extends beyond birds. Every species we consider impressive, charismatic, or remarkable is a specialist. The animals that fascinate us are usually the ones that have committed deeply to specific ecological strategies. They are also the ones most likely to go extinct when conditions change. The animals we ignore, the rats and pigeons and cockroaches and starlings and house sparrows and feral pigs, these are the generalists. These are the animals that will outlast every charismatic megafauna species in the long run. The future of life on Earth over deep time belongs to the unimpressive. The remarkable animals will be replaced by descendants of the unremarkable ones. The rats inheriting the world is not just a metaphor. It is a serious prediction based on how evolution actually works over geological timescales. Specialists shine briefly. Generalists endure. When I started this simulation, I expected the Cassowary to win. The biggest, most defensive, most impressive looking bird. I expected the secretary bird to win because predatory specialization seems so adaptive. I expected the Hoatzin to win because evolution often rewards weirdness. I did not expect the pigeon to win. The pigeon is the bird I would have ignored. If I were running this simulation casually, rather than scientifically, the pigeon won because the pigeon is exactly what evolution rewards over long timescales. Not interesting, not specialized, not impressive. Just adaptable, fast reproducing, and uncommitted to any particular strategy. The bird outside your window that you have never thought about is the bird most likely to leave descendants 50 million years from now. The Kakapo, the secretary bird, the Hoatzin, and the Cassowary will all be gone. The pigeon's descendants will fill their niches. The most boring animal won.